Section 5 of Journal of the Reverend Francis Asbury, Volume 2. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Brian Keenan. Saturday, December 6. I had some freedom in preaching at Still Pond Church on Simon, Satan hath desired to have you, that he might sift you as wheat, etc. Sunday 7. I preached at the widow Woodland's, was not in a good frame of body or mind. At Georgetown I felt still worse, and to crown all I had a long dispute with Mr. B. about ordination and experimental religion. Monday 8. Rode to Cecil Courthouse, and had, I trust, a profitable time. We crossed Elk River to Brother Ford's, and had a gracious meeting at his house. Tuesday 9. We had a damp ride to Cokesbury, and found it was even as it had been reported to us. An attempt had been made to burn the college by putting fire into one of the closets, but some of the students made a timely discovery, and it was extinguished. I stayed 2 days and expended more than £100, and felt my spirit tried. I put the young men to board in the college. We have some promising youths among them for learning, but they want religion. I came to Baltimore, and found some tokens of the divine presence, at the quarterly meeting, on Chronicles 15:8. Thou canst save by many, or by those that have no might. Monday 15. Came to Cromwell's and preached with some satisfaction. Thence I hasted to Annapolis, where the Lord was present while I declared, the Lord's hand is not shortened. Tuesday 16. Rode to Weems's chapel and preached with fervor on O Zion that bringest good tidings, etc. Thence to Calvert quarterly meeting. The weather was very cold, but there was some spiritual heat among the people. Virginia, Friday 19. Rode 30 miles to Hoe's Ferry, and thence to Pope's, about 30 miles more. The weather is still excessively cold. Sunday 21. I preached to a few tender souls at Pease on Isaiah 29:17. Yet a very little while and Lebanon shall be a fruitful field. Tuesday 23. Had a few lively people at Woolard's. I read, write, pray, and ride, and hope to see much of the power of God on this journey. Christmas Day. I preached in the open house at Fairfield's on Isaiah 9:6. I felt warm in speaking, but there was an offensive smell of rum among the people. Saturday 27. At the Presbyterian Church in Lancaster, there was a divine stir in the congregation. Envy and disputation have been injurious to the work of God in these parts. Oh, may the Lord yet help us and revive his work. I found our opposing the doctrine of final perseverance had given offense. A house of our own will alone fix us properly. January 1, 1789. After waiting about 2 hours, the wind suddenly calmed, and I crossed Rappahannock and came to Cheesecake. We had a comfortable meeting at R.M.'s in Kingston, thence to B.'s, and afterward to D.'s, where, although I had an unfeeling audience, I had satisfaction in my own soul. We came to James City, where God has wrought a glorious work, as also in New Kent County in the same circuit. A number of young people have been made the subjects of this grace. Thursday 8. I had a most agreeable passage for the season across James River. Arrived at Mooning's about 3 o'clock, and found a lively people. Christians here appear to stand faithful, but sinners are not brought in. Friday 9. Was a good day at Ellis's. My soul felt peace, and I was happy to find our old friends standing fast. Saturday 10. We had a happy meeting at Lane's Chapel. I went to the widow Lane's. I felt uneasy, but I found it needful for me to be there. Sunday 11. Preached on Kiss the Sun, etc., and afterward rode 15 miles to Moss's. They are a dear people at Lane's Chapel. Slavery is greatly on the decline among them. Tuesday, 13. An appointment had been made at Mabry's chapel, but the sleet and rain hindered the people from attending, so I preached at Brother Thewit's to about 6 preachers and as many members. Wednesday, 14. I had about 300 hearers at the Low Ground Chapel. Our brethren shouted whilst I enlarged on Isaiah 63:1. I felt very solemn for 2 or 3 days past, as though God would speak through me to the souls of the people. Thursday, 15. Rode to Moore's, had a dead, dull people, except those few who came from a distance. Crossed Roanoke, and arriving at the place of preaching a little after night, I spoke on comfort ye, my people, etc. North Carolina, Saturday and Sunday, 1718. Preached at Whitaker's chapel, where we had a profitable time. I found God had been working, and that many souls had been awakened. We came to Jay's. In this neighborhood the Christians are singularly devoted, but sinners yet stand it out. The Lord has begun to work on Sandy Creek, in Franklin County, where 20 souls have been lately brought to God. Came to Bennett Hills, hungry and unwell. My soul enjoys much of God. We had a shaking time at H's, a sweet love feast and sacrament. Thence I went to Pope's chapel. I came to G's. Saturday, 24. Rode to Kimborough's 20 miles, where there were many people, and but little engagedness among them. After attending a few appointments on Tuesday, 27, I crossed Haw River, and rode 20 miles to Brother Kennan's in Chatham County. I had not been in this county for 8 years. We had a meeting at night, but I was strangely shut up. Thursday, 29. Rode to W's, wet and water-bound. We found the poor antinomian drunk. However, as the rain was great, we made out to stay. Friday, 30. Rode through the rain to Bowdoin's. Deep River was very high, and we had an awful time in crossing it. Saturday, 31. Came to Fair Creek, which was nearly swimming high. Then to Little River, but we could not cross. We stopped at MD's and ate our own morsel. Afterward we rode down the river and were thankful to be housed. Monday, February 2. I attended an appointment made for another preacher at Masks, where there were a few serious souls. Tuesday, 3. I stopped on my way at Dr. King's, and took dinner, and had my horse shod. By some means my appointments have not been published. South Carolina. Came to the Green Ponds, where there was an appointment for me. I felt a little comforted. I have ridden about 140 miles in the last 7 days, through a very disagreeable part of the country to travel when the waters are high. I have had various exercises, and have suffered hunger, fatigue, and fever, and have not had a comfortable bed for a week past. Wednesday, 4. I was much moved at the beauty spot on Ye Did Run Well, etc. I found it had been the case here, but the use of strong liquor. We rode to ours, a long stretch across a deep swamp. We came in late, and I preached with little liberty. I lodged at a poor, kind man. Sunday, 8. Notwithstanding the rain, we had many to hear at Flowers's. It was in due season that I was led out here on Peter's denial of his master, for there has been a great falling away, particularly by drunkenness. This was not told me till after preaching. Monday, 9. Rode to Reuel's meeting house. My soul was in peace, and uncommonly led out in preaching. Thence to Port's Long Ferry, 3 miles across PD. The inundation of the river, occasioned by the rains, has made a mere sea. My mind has been variously tried and strongly exercised by dejection. Lord, give me faith and patience. Tuesday, 10. Came, after a ride of 40 miles, to Georgetown, and lectured on Isaiah 40, 1-9. Friday, 13. Rode 45 miles to Wapata, and next day arrived in Charleston in sweet peace of soul. Sunday, 15. Preached in the morning with some light, in the afternoon on Matthew 11, 28-30. I preached again on Tuesday and on Wednesday. My heart was drawn out greatly for these people. Friday, 20. I spoke very pointedly on Revelations 3, 20-22, but the people are of small spiritual understanding. Lord, stir them up. I was closely employed in making my plan and arranging the papers for conference. I made out a register of all the preachers on the continent who bear the name of Methodists. Saturday, 21. I was very ill with a fever and colic, and it being rainy, I kept within doors. Sunday, 22. Very rainy, but I had about 100 blacks and nearly 50 whites to hear me. I preached also in the afternoon and at night. Tuesday, 24. I set out for Edisto Circuit, journeying up the south side of Ashley River. Here live the rich and great who have houses in the city and country, and go backward and forward in their splendid chariots. The land, however, with the exception of the rice fields, is barren. The weather is cold, but my soul has peace, full and flowing peace. After riding 36 miles, I was kindly entertained by Mr. Givham, but there was still something wanting. Wednesday, 25. They were out of bread at Pease, and we found our own stores of use. We had to send one of our weary horses 8 miles to fetch the flour from the mill. Thursday, 26. Rode to Bruton's and enjoyed uncommon happiness in God. Sometime in the night Dr. Coke came in. He had landed in Charleston about 3 hours after I left the city. Next day he and myself both spoke at Ridgell's. Sunday, March 1. We spent the day at Chester's. We had very few hearers, occasioned in part by a black man's preaching not far distant. Monday, 2. I was violently exercised. The doctor and myself both preached at Puckett's. Thence we set out with the design to reach Treadway's, but were greatly deceived, and went up the road that leads to 96. At last we thought we had gone far enough, and stopped at a house 21 miles from the place whence we started, and still farther from the place we aimed at. Georgia. Came to Dr. Fuller's at Beach Island, and next day arrived in Augusta, Georgia. Riding late 2 nights past has much disordered me, having taken a cold, attended with a fever and pain in the head. Thursday, 5. I obtained a little rest at Brother Haynes's. Friday, 6. Although it rained, we had a few people at Brownsboro. Next day there was some life at Scott's. Here they have built us a large chapel. Sunday, 8. Our conference began at Grant's. Here we have a house for public worship, and one also at Meriwether's. On Thursday we appointed a committee to procure 500 acres of land for the establishment of a school in the state of Georgia. Conference being ended, we directed our hasty steps back to Charleston, calling at the several places we attended on our journey hither. South Carolina, Sunday, 15. We reached the city, having ridden 200 miles in about 5 days and 2 hours. Here I received a bitter pill from one of my greatest friends. Praise the Lord for my trials also. May they all be sanctified. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 17, 18, 19, were spent in conference. It was a time of peace and love. My mind was much hurried with book and other temporal concerns. We had an unkind attack published against us relative to our slave rules. It was answered to purpose. I had not much doubt who the author of this unworthy work was. Saturday 21 was spent in preparing to move on Monday next. Sunday 22. Dr. Coke preached an ordination sermon in the forenoon, and in the afternoon I felt lively in soul whilst I enlarged on Ezekiel 33:5. Monday 23. We left the city and rode upwards of 40 miles. Tuesday 24. Crossed the Santee and came to Brother Broman's. Wednesday 25. Preached at Gibson's, then rode to Ramsey's near Statesburg, 16 miles. Thursday 26. I was hurried away to preach a funeral sermon. I have ridden about 150 miles and preached 3 times since I left Charleston last Monday morning. I am at times tempted to lightness, yet, blessed be God, my soul has sweet communion with him. Saturday 28. At Bradford's Chapel I preached on Hebrews 11:16-17. At Rembert's on Isaiah 40:1. My soul was blessed among the people. Sunday 29. I was led out in preaching and prayer. The people were melted, and the work of God progresses. I trust the Lord will get himself great glory here. Monday 30. We rode about 50 miles to Colonel Marshall's. The weather was very warm, and we were hungry and weary. North Carolina, Wednesday, April 1. The people came together at Jackson's at 12 o'clock. I did not reach there until 3. I enlarged a little on Zechariah 13:12, and was somewhat severe. I rode to Savannah Creek, and met with an antinomian people. Reached Threadgill's, having been out 12 hours and ridden nearly 40 miles without food for man or beast. Friday 3. Preached by the way and came to Randall's, 20 miles. We have ridden 300 miles in about 9 days, and our horses' backs are bruised with their loads. I want more faith, patience, and resignation to the will of God in all things. I wish to send an extra preacher to the Waxhaws to preach to the Catawba Indians. They have settled amongst the whites on a tract of country 12 miles square. Sunday 5. We had a move whilst I was speaking on Isaiah 33:14-15. Some souls were brought to experience peace with God. Here Dr. Coke came up with us. We expect to continue together for some time. We had a long ride to Jones's. I preached there and continued on to M. Knight's, on the Yadkin. Friday 10. We opened our conference and were blessed with peace and union. Our brethren from the westward met us, and we had weighty matters for consideration before us. Virginia. We left M. Knight's, having about 200 miles to ride in 4 days. We had a tedious ride to Almonds and a blessed season of grace. Set out from Almonds and reached Goods. Saturday 18. We rode 36 miles to Petersburg. On Sunday the doctor preached. I had nothing to say in public. We met the preachers on Saturday and Sunday evenings and brought our work forward. I had disagreeable feelings while here. There is a spiritual death among the people. I spoke a little on Monday and on Wednesday. Thursday 23. We came to Manchester. My exertions, want of rest, and distress of mind brought on a violent headache. Instead of preaching, I found myself under the necessity of going to bed. Dr. Coke had gone over the river to Richmond and preached there. Friday 24. We rode about 50 miles, and next day reached Fredericksburg, but found no door open. We met with one soul in distress. Sunday 26. Having no appointment to preach, we pushed on and rode 45 miles and lodged in Prince William County. Monday 27. Arrived at Leesburg and opened the conference. We found a little rest comfortable to man and advantageous to beast. Maryland, Thursday 30. We crossed Potomac into Maryland. My soul cleaves to God, but I am again afflicted in my head. Reaching Brother Nicholson's in Montgomery, we were kindly entertained. Friday, May 1. I felt life in speaking. Saturday, 2. We attended quarterly meeting. Not being permitted to use the chapel, we went into a tobacco house. Many attended, and the young converts shouted aloud. Sunday, 3. Was a great day to saints and sinners. God has wrought wonderfully in Brother Pigman's neighborhood. 50 or 60 souls have been suddenly and powerfully converted to God. Came to Baltimore and had very lively meetings. Multitudes came to hear, and great cries were heard among the people, who continued together until 3 o'clock in the morning. Many souls professed to be convicted, converted, sanctified. On reaching Cokesbury, we found that here also God was working among the students. One, however, we expelled. We revised our laws and settled our temporal concerns. Tuesday, 12. We were detained at Susquehanna Ferry, so that we were compelled to ride in the night to reach Chestertown. We had a blessed work of God on our way. Loud shouting was heard in almost every meeting. At Sacrament especially, the Lord's power and presence were great indeed. At Duck Creek we had a good season. Saturday, 16. Dr. Coke preached in Wilmington. Sunday, 17. The doctor preached at Chester, and in Philadelphia in the evening. Wednesday, 20. In the evening the Lord's power came down among the people in the city, and I hope to hear he is doing great things. New Jersey, Thursday, 21. Rode to Burlington, in Jersey. In crossing the Delaware we encountered an uncommon storm, but were providentially brought safely over. We were comfortable in our meeting, but we had a painful interview and explanation with L.H.H. Oh, my soul, keep near to God. Friday, 22. We rode to Trenton, and on Saturday, 23, opened our conference in great peace. We labored for a manifestation of the Lord's power, and it was not altogether in vain. Sunday, 24. We had abundance of preaching. Monday, 25. We rode through a heavy rain to Elizabethtown, and next day reached New York. I was under great travail of soul for a revival of religion. New York, Thursday, 28. Our conference began. All things were conducted in peace and order. Our work opens in New York State. New England stretcheth out the hand to our ministry, and I trust thousands will shortly feel its influence. My soul shall praise the Lord. In the midst of haste I find peace within. Sunday, 31. We had a gracious season to preachers and people, while I opened and applied Isaiah 25, 6-8. And in this mountain shall the Lord of hosts make unto all people a feast of fat things, a feast of wines on the lees, of fat things full of marrow, of wines on the lees well refined. Friday, June 5. Dr. Cope left us and went on board the Union for Liverpool. My soul retires into solitude, and to God. This evening I was enabled to speak alarmingly, and felt my heart much engaged for about 30 minutes on Isaiah 29, 17-19. The power of God and a baptizing flame came among the people. I have lately read Whiston's translation of the Apostolical Institutions, so called. Also Cave's Lives of the Apostles and Fathers. Sunday, 7. Was a good day. I felt inwardly quickened towards the close of my morning's discourse, and the people were moved. In the afternoon many were divinely drawn, and my own soul was humbled and filled with the love of God. Several souls have been stirred up this conference. I trust the Lord will claim the people of York for his own. Tuesday, 9. We left the city of New York and came to Kingsbridge. After refreshing ourselves and our horses, we pushed on to Eastchester. The appointment for us was to have been made at Dee's. There came together about 200 people, among whom there was a considerable move. Wednesday, 10. My horse was lamed, by fetters, I suppose, so that I had to walk part of the way to New Rochelle. Proper notice of my coming not having been given, I had but 150 hearers. We have a good house here, a large society, and several of the old members, whom I formed into a society some years past, are still alive to God. End of Section 5. Recording by Brian Keenan.